Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Suranjali Seal, and like I always say, if you are somebody that loves literature and is all about literature, then this is the channel for you. In our video today, we're going to cover three topics, and you know that we've already covered the introduction to Aristotle, and we are covering literary criticism, of whom we're discussing the Greek critics first. We've completed Socrates and Plato in detail, and now we have begun with Aristotle. Last week I had uploaded the introduction on Aristotle, and today we're going to dive deep into his ideas and philosophies. Now in this video we're going to talk about three topics. Understanding Aristotle is, or it would be incomplete without understanding these topics, so it is absolutely necessary. We have to decipher who Aristotle was and what his ideas were like. So we're going to talk about Aristotle's substance theory, or theory of substances, and we're going to contrast that with Plato's theory of forms. So we're going to first understand the substance theory, then we're going to look at Aristotle versus Plato. That is, where did they differ? Plato's theory of forms versus Aristotle's substance theory, or theory of substances. And then finally we're going to look at Aristotle's four causes, or his theory of causality. So Aristotle and Plato differed to a great extent, okay? And Aristotle was Plato's student, so we need to see how did he differ from his teacher. Now, after this video, after covering these important ideas, if you find ways and means to incorporate these ideas into your answers, it will enrich your answers and also fetch you marks. So these ideas are absolutely necessary to understand Aristotle and his philosophy. After this video, in the next video, we're going to cover poetics in detail, because that is our focus as far as literary criticism is concerned and English literature is concerned. So we're going to talk about poetics in a separate video. Here we're going to talk about these three topics, so let's get right into it. Okay, so now let's look at where does he talk about the substance theory. We're going to cover the substance theory first, and what is the substance theory, okay? So categories, physics and metaphysics are the three works in which he actually talks about the substance theory. So you can remember this for match the columns, okay? So categories, physics and metaphysics are the works in which he talks about the substance theory. Now for Aristotle, what is it? Okay, what is the substance theory? For Aristotle, the individual objects, entities and the things that we encounter in this world are real. Okay, so you have to understand this in contrast to the theory of forms by Plato. Now see, I have discussed in detail the theory of forms with numerous examples in my videos on Plato. Whatever videos I made on Plato, there are three of them. I've dedicated one whole video in detail for the theory of forms by Plato. I've discussed the theory of forms and repeated it again, the explanation, again in the allegory of the cave video, because they're closely connected. And after that, I also referred to it in the Platonic love video. So if you are interested in this detailed study and a recap of the theory of forms, okay, because we're going to contrast that with the theory of substances, it's absolutely necessary, okay? So you can refer back to that video again, all right? But just in short, for clarity in this video, I'll just repeat a few points, all right? Details are in those videos, so if you are interested, then please do check that out, okay? Check those videos out. Here we're going to repeat a little bit of the points. Now see, what did Plato say about the theory of forms? Okay, Plato believed that there's a realm of forms, okay, which we cannot see. I'll give a very simple example. My brain is here, but my mind, how will you define my mind? Where does my mind exist? My mind actually generates ideas. So you can, I'm just giving an example, okay, so that you understand. Okay, this is just an example. So what Plato thinks is that the mind, okay, which you cannot see, just like that, there's an invisible realm of forms, okay, realm of forms. So if you are familiar with that word, twice removed from reality, that poetry is twice removed from reality. He says that if you are considering a chair is made by the carpenter, but that idea of the chair comes to him, right? That form or the idea of the chair comes to his head, and then he makes the chair, all right? So that idea comes from where? He says that it's an invisible realm of forms. We cannot see it, okay? So consider that it's a bag. I'm just giving an example again. Imagine that this realm of forms is like a bag. All ideas of, say, what is a book, what is a dog, what is a lion, what is a chair, what is a table, exists in this bag, okay? Now, I write poetry. What is poetry? The essence of poetry, the form of poetry, the meaning exists in that bag. Now, that bag gives this idea in my head, and then I write poetry. So when I write poetry, this is an imitation. Imitation of what? That idea inside that bag. Okay. So, what Plato says is that we can look at a dog and say it's a dog. We can look at a cat and we can say it's a cat. We look at things around us and we're able to identify them. Why? Because we associate a form with them. A pen has a particular, we don't look at a pencil and we say it's a pen. We don't look at a cat and we say it's a dog. Similarly, we know this is a tree, that is a laptop. No matter what kind of a tree it is, apple tree, orange tree, a tree, we know it's a tree. If I look at a table, it can be a half table, it can be a center table, a coffee table, a dining table, but I know that it's a table. Why? Because there's a particular characteristic, a particular form that we associate with the table, okay? And he argues that these ideas of what a table is, the essence, the form of the table, it exists in that realm of forms, in that realm of ideas. That realm of ideas is a blueprint of reality. Of perfection. It is a blueprint of perfection. And all that we see around us is an imitation. Imitation of what? The ideas that exist in the realm of forms. So he says, if I'm talking about a pen, idea first of making a pen has come from that realm of forms, and then I made a pen. But it's not the exact replica, but it's a replica, it's a copy of what? That idea. That idea came to me from that invisible realm. He also says whatever we see around us with our senses, our eyes, our nose, the touch and our taste, all of this, and whatever we hear also, whatever we can perceive with our senses is this world of imitation. Okay, whatever we look around us is an imitation. We can perceive it with our senses. Okay, but he says that in order to understand the world of ideas, we have to use our reason. We cannot see the world of ideas. We cannot perceive it. We have to understand it through reason. And you have to use your reason to understand that realm of forms. Okay, so this is his theory of forms. Now, he says, so the basis of his theory of forms is what? That there's an invisible world of ideas from where ideas are generated, forms. It is the blueprint of perfection. And everything we see around us is an imitation. It has come, the ideas have come from that realm of forms. We have copied it. Okay, we have copied everything around us. And in order to understand the realm of forms, we have to use our reason. We cannot see it. It is aspatial, atemporal, like I told you, right? You can refer back to my theory of forms video and the allegory of the cave video, so you'll understand it better. But if you have watched the video, so this is like a recap. So he says that realm of forms, the ideas, originality, reality, truth exists there. That is the truth. Whatever we see around us is an imitation. That's what he says, okay? But for his student, Aristotle, what does Aristotle say? He says, individual objects, a pen, a tree, a laptop, whatever we see around us, okay, and the things we encounter in this world, whatever we see, we encounter in this world are real, okay, they are real. You cannot say that they're an imitation. You cannot say that the ideal exists elsewhere. Whatever we see around us is real, okay, he says, and he believed that they are comprised of two things, matter and form, okay. Now I'll tell you, for Plato, okay, matter is whatever we see around us. It's changing all the time, okay? But the form, what makes a thing it is, the essence of a thing, the meaning of a thing, the reality, the truth of a thing exists in that realm of forms. But Aristotle says that there's no realm of forms. The form and matter exist in the thing itself, okay? So I'll give you an example. For example, I am a human being, okay? Whenever you look at a human being, you can distinguish it from a cat, right? You know a cat is a cat, you know a human is a human. Because you associate a particular form to the human, a particular trait to a human, a particular idea to what a human is. You can look at that and say that it's a human. You can look at this and say it's a cat. You can look at that and say it's a table. You understand? So, it's a form. But we are also changing. Consider a baby. It's a human being. Okay. We associate a form to a baby. When a baby is born, we don't say it's an adult. We immediately say, oh, it's a baby. Because there's a particular form to this baby. Okay. Now, the baby will grow up, mature. It'll grow up, the limbs your hands, legs, body will grow, mature. Okay. So, what will happen is, what is changing in that baby? The matter is changing in that baby. But the essence, the form of being a human being is there right from birth. It is a human being right from birth. The child is a human belonging to the species Homo sapiens right from birth. So you are a human, born a human, okay? So your form is there. There's a form to a human being. We know that this baby is going to grow up to become a human being, grow up to become an adult, but it belongs to the category of Homo sapiens, belongs to the category of being a human being. So the form is there of being a human, and the matter is changing. That is whatever the cells that are, the cells in the body, the organs, everything, even his height, everything that is growing, it's subject to change. It's changing. What changes is the matter. So he says that matter and form exist in everything we see around us. Again, now I've given you the example of a human being, which is pretty easy. Let's consider a pen. Okay, pen. It has form and it has matter. Matter is the materials that it's made up with, what it contains. Okay, and it's subject to change. That's what Aristotle says. Matter is subject to change. Form, it remains. It's its being. Okay, he says that matter is something which is becoming, and form is that which gives the subject its being, its essence, what it is. So the form of a pen, we know, we look at a pen, whether it's a ball pen, gel pen, it can be a black pen, red pen, green pen, whatever ink, okay, whatever ink, fountain pen, anything, okay. Whatever ink the pen can be, but we look at a pen and we know it's a pen because we associate it with the form of the pen, okay. But when we are using the pen, you'll see that the refill, the ink, it decreases, right? To a point where we used up the whole pen, the whole refill. We cannot refill it anymore. The entire refill is done. We used the ink and we have used the pen and the ink has diminished to zero, nothing, okay. What has changed? The matter of the pen has changed, has it not? From the first time that you actually made the pen and then bought the pen and then you wrote with the pen, there are things in it that changed, okay. But the form remained the same. So it's becoming something else, but its being of the idea of it being a pen exists throughout. Okay. So he says that anything in this world, okay, in this world. I mean, I'll give you an example of a table also. When I first got a table polished, okay, in my house and it was brand new, I was very careful of not actually making any changes to it. I took care of it, and then now it's like when I pull the table and put it here and there are little scratches, maybe sometimes there's dust that accumulates. I wash it off, so the luster is also like, it might just diminish over time as well if you don't take care of it properly. So I'm just giving an example. So the thing is, everything is changing around us constantly. If you think about it, even us, our hair is growing every day, even if we cut it. Nothing is constant. But the essence, the form of us being human beings, of a table being a table, no matter what kind of a table it is, it exists. It's being, okay. So for Plato, being, that ideal, the blueprint of perfection, truth, exists or is found in the realm of forms. That world that we cannot see, okay. That atemporal, aspatial world, it exists outside of this material world. While becoming is found in the receptacle world of matter. This, whatever we see around us, Plato says this is matter. It is a world of receptacles. We can perceive it. We can see it with our senses, feel it with our senses, taste it, smell it, everything. Whatever we see around us, we can feel it, okay. Now, he says that this world is an imitation, that world is real. But for Aristotle, he says that world and this world exist together. So for me, if I'm a human being, my form is of a human being, and my becoming is this journey from life till death. It's changing every day, okay? It's not the same. So that essence is always there, but I'm becoming something, okay? I'm susceptible, or I'm prone to change, okay. So substance does not refer to object like particulars such as elephants or vases, okay. When we talk about substance in layman's term, we'll say we can call a table a substance, we can call, say, a nail polish a substance, we can call a bed a substance. They're not referring to objects here. Substance is whatever the object is made up of, the different kinds of constituents, qualities. I am a human being, I'm made up, suppose I have cells, okay, that's also a substance. I have qualities, emotions, okay, cognitive power. Everything makes me who I am today. Who I am today is because of these different qualities that make me who I am, okay. It's not just one thing. So he says Substance refers to an underlying thing that must be combined with properties to yield an object-like particular. There are many properties that combine together to make me who I am. There are many things that will combine together to make you who you are. And I'm not only talking about emotions, okay? You consider the cells, you consider everything else around you. Everything affects, or there are many different properties. If you consider, say, a pen also, it is made up of many things that are combined together in it, okay? So, and particulars, like whatever we see around us, every object is called a particular. So he says many things combined together produces a particular, okay? So this underlying thing is typically conceived as having no properties in itself. The underlying thing, say a pen, okay? If you just think about, forget the form of the pen, you forget the color of the pen, forget everything that I just said, forget every characteristic of a pen, and just sit and think of the word pen. Does it make sense? Does the word pen without the characteristics of a pen make sense? It doesn't. Thus, it has to be, like, you have to understand this, that, you know, it just doesn't exist in itself. A pen without the qualities or the characteristics that make up a pen makes no sense. Okay, the pen is a pen because of the properties that it has. Okay, the kind of characteristic and the form that it has. That's why it's a pen. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So it stands under or supports the properties with which it must be combined. So a substance, the underlying thing, does not exist on its own. It has to be combined with different properties to make it what it is. Okay, so therefore you have to understand that according to the theory of forms, ideal world exists elsewhere. And whatever we see around us is the material world. Okay, this is what we see around us. According to Plato, according to the theory of forms, whatever we see around us is an imitation. Ideal world exists elsewhere. But for Aristotle, the ideal world and or maybe the world of forms, the forms and matter exist together, and whatever we see around us is real, okay, according to him. So matter is this element of becoming, and form is that which gives anything its being, what it is, okay. So I hope this is clear now. We're going to move on further. Okay, now let's have a look at the criteria for substance, okay, like how can we actually identify substances, all right. So first characteristic, the first criteria of identifying substance is that it is an individual thing, okay, individual thing in the sense this table, maybe that eyeliner, or maybe that person, you know, it's an individual thing. You can identify substances, they are individual things, this, that, such. So what is it? Okay, no two human beings are also the same, okay, you can say that. So when you say who am I, okay, who am I, you can identify me. When you look at a table, you can identify it as an individual thing with its own qualities, an individual substance, an individual thing, okay. Also, substances have no contrary, that is no opposites, okay. What I mean by this is, say a pen is a pen. What is the opposite of a pen? You cannot say the opposite of a pen is a pencil. You can't say that. A pencil is in itself an individual thing. A pen in itself is an individual thing, okay. If you consider, say, a human being, you cannot say the opposite of human being is being an animal. No. An animal has its own properties, its own characteristics. An animal is an animal. A human is a human. There is no opposite to substances. Okay. It's an individual thing, if you can understand. Suppose I talk about a lampshade. What is the opposite of a lampshade? You cannot say it's a bulb or a tube light. A tube light or a bulb has its own qualities. A lampshade has its own qualities. So a book, what is the opposite of a book? There's no opposite as such. You understand? What is the opposite, say, of a table? You cannot say the opposite of a table is a chair. No. A chair is a chair, it's an individual thing. A table is a table, it's an individual thing with its own qualities. It's an individual substance. So there are no opposites also to substances. No variation, more than or less than. Like when you look at a table, you cannot say this is more of a table than that other table. You can't say that. A table is a table, each substance, there's no variation. If you look at a dog, you cannot say this cat is, or this dog is more of a dog than another dog. A dog is a dog. There's no variation of more than or less than. Or maybe if you look at, say, a laptop, you cannot say this laptop is more of a laptop than that laptop. You cannot. There's no variation. A cat is a cat, a dog is a dog, a laptop is a laptop. It's an individual thing. There is no contrary, no opposite, and there's no variation, no less than, no more than. Okay. And when you talk about opposites, it's not like hot, cold, above, under. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the thing in itself. Okay, the thing in itself. There's no opposites, there's no contrary, there's no variation. Okay, there's no variation. So admits contrary qualities. So if you consider a cat, okay, consider human beings only. Okay, suppose me, I can be sad, I can be happy, I can be angry. These are contrary qualities in me. Okay, and if you consider a cat or a dog, cat can be sleeping, dog can be running, a dog can be hungry, can be thirsty. These are contrary qualities that are contained in the substance. These are living things. Okay, let's consider say non-living things like let's consider a mirror. Okay, so a mirror can have reflective qualities. Okay, it can be of a different shape. Okay, it can be made up of different things, different borders, different colors. I mean, not the mirror itself, but I'm talking about the border and the frame and everything. So a mirror is a mirror, no doubt. Okay, but each individual mirror has its own properties, its own qualities, its own shape. And this is like contrary qualities in one thing. Okay, if you consider, say, a pen also, a pen can be of red ink, black ink. It can be of a fountain pen, it can be a gel pen, it can be a ball pen. So there are contrary qualities in that one form of a pen, contrary qualities in that one thing. Okay, it can change or undergo change of a quality while remaining the same. I'm a human being. Right now, I'm very happy. After 2 seconds, I can be sad. After 3 seconds, I can be happy again. And after 4 seconds, I can be angry. So I'm going through the changes in the quality of things. Okay, but essentially I'm still a human being. I'm remaining the same. Okay, but my qualities can change. Okay, over time. So it is the first in every sense. Okay, it is the first in every sense. So what I mean by this is Aristotle says that substance is primary. Okay, it is the primacy of substance. It is the first in everything. So how do you think that a substance is first in every sense? Okay, let's argue this. Let's look at this. In time, okay, it is the first in time. Substance is the first in every sense, and it is the first in time. It is the first in knowledge. It is the first in definition. Okay, this is what he says. How is it first in time? How? So at this point in time, okay, I say red. Does it make sense to you if I just say red? You'll ask me, red what? You cannot just have the color red, orange, pink, yellow, all of these things. You just cannot have these colors existing just like that. They have to be in relation to something. So I'll say a red pen, a red ball, a red balloon, and then you'll say, oh, okay, that's what you're talking about. I cannot just say green. And there's like, you'll be expecting me to say green what? Okay, green what? A green tree, a green book, a green pen, or a green leaf. These are the things. Then you'll say, oh, okay, that's what you're referring to. So you cannot just have certain qualities that they just exist in time. Okay, love. What? Love what? So it can be a person. I love a book. I love studying. Or maybe I love dancing, I love painting. So you understand, I love movies. It has to be you love something. Red something, green something. And that something is the substance. So the substance is the first in time. That is, whatever we see around us, it is associated to a substance. Okay, it is always associated to a substance. Now you can go home and actually do this. You can actually sit and just think that whatever we see around us, what do we actually associate them to? I'll say a lamp. You'll know a lamp is a lamp because it's associated with light, it's associated with the bulb, it's associated with something. So in time also, it has to be there in order for anything else to exist. A substance needs to be there to exist. Maybe your counterpart, the person you love, is why you know love. Okay, you see a red box and then you know it's the red color in the box. Okay, you see a toe and the toe is associated with what? Your feet. Okay, so a substance needs to be there in order for other things to exist. I hope this is clear. So it is the first in every sense, primacy of substance. Substance is prime according to Aristotle, and in time it has to be there in order for anything else to exist. In definition, okay, let's look at this. Everything is defined in relation to a substance, okay? Quality of a substance or relation of a substance. Everything that you see around you is defined in accordance with the substance. I am angry. Why are you angry? The quality of being angry, okay? It's your burst of emotions. It's actually associated to, say, an incident. I saw something, I read something, I did not like it, I'm angry. It's associated to something. And if you consider, say, a substance, if you consider, say, a bed, okay, you will define a bed with the substance or with the act of resting, with the act of sleeping. Otherwise the bed would have no purpose, okay? So you have the definition. Everything that is defined around us is in relation to a substance, is in relation to something, and it can be a quality of a substance, it can be in relation to a substance as well. So if you think about it, if you look around, okay, everything is defined in relation to a substance. I am the one who reads the book, so the act of reading is associated to me reading the book, holding the book. So the book is also exists because I read it, okay? The definition of a book or definition of a reader is me reading it. I'm the substance reading the book. So you understand, every definition that we encounter in our lives is in relation to a substance, a quality of a substance, or in relation of a substance, okay? So I hope this is also clear. Then we have in order of knowledge. It comes first, primacy of substance. In order of knowledge, when we actually gain knowledge about things around us, substance is what we actually get to know first. It comes first in the order of knowledge, according to Aristotle. So whenever we see anything, we ask, right, what is it? Okay, I'll look at a car and I'll say, what is that? I'll look at a laptop and say, what is this? And then I'll look at the tree and I'll say, what is that? How does it differ from this? Okay, from a plant. So you see, we cannot define anything, we cannot identify anything without knowing what it is. And whatever we are trying to define, in order of knowledge also, we have to know what it is first. We have to know the substance first, what it is. An apple, okay, an apple. You look at an apple, you can identify it as an apple. So, whatever you say, apple tree, apple juice, apple whatever, you'll know. When I say the word apple, you immediately associate it with matter and form. The matter of an apple, that is what it's made up of, and the form of an apple, okay? You'll associate it with apple. And you'll know that I'm talking about an apple because of the matter and the form of an apple. And the knowledge of the apple gives you an idea of what an apple juice is. You will know what is... you will be able to distinguish this apple juice with an apple pie. You'll be able to understand that. Ask yourself, if this apple is crushed into pulp, no? Like you just grind it and make it into pulp, is it still an apple? Our idea of an apple is associated with that form of an apple, okay? So that form of an apple and the matter that comprises an apple gives it a certain look, okay? A certain form. We associate it with it, okay? So in knowledge also, suppose you'll say, I'm having apple juice. You'll have the form of the apple in your mind. Okay, so she's having the juice of an apple. Okay. And then if you talk about apple pie, you'll be able to distinguish it from an apple, from apple juice, and then you have an apple pie. So in order of knowledge also, substance comes first. You need to know the thing that you're actually talking about. What is it? Okay. So I hope this is very clear. It is the first in every sense, okay? Primacy of a substance, and these are the criteria for substances to identify what substance is, okay? So I think this is very clear. Now we'll just give a roundabout conclusion to Aristotle versus Plato. We're going to look at, we've understood where they've differed. I think that I've made that clear, theory of forms and theory of substances. Now we're going to look at a roundabout idea of where they have differed, and then we're going to move on to the final section, which is Aristotle's four causes, or his theory of causality. Okay, so let's move on further. Okay, so now let's have a look at Aristotle versus Plato. So by rejecting Plato's theory of forms, Aristotle clears the way for his empirical approach. Empiricism, I've talked about this in the Francis Bacon video also, so you can have a look at that. So paves his way for the empirical approach, which emphasizes observation first and abstract reasoning second. So if you consider Plato's theory of forms, he says you have to use your reason to understand the world of ideas, then only you will understand the material world. Okay, but Aristotle says that you don't have to look at abstract ideas first. You have to look at observation, observe the real world first, then go to abstract ideas, then try to decipher what it means. Okay, so Aristotle received his philosophical education at Plato's academy. So it is natural that he would feel obliged to justify at length why he departs from the doctrines of his teacher. He provides detailed arguments against many of Plato's doctrines in almost all of his major works, focusing in particular on the theory of forms. So, because I've mentioned this before also, that because he was the student of Plato himself, so that's why he feels obliged to give reasons for his claims. That is why, because he differs from his teacher. So in almost all of his major works, he actually gives he gives arguments against Plato's theory of forms. Okay, he gives arguments and reasons behind his thinking, behind his take. Okay, and he focuses particularly on the theory of forms. Remember, theory of substances, I said, as opposed to the theory of forms. So, see, in Aristotle's view, this theory is essentially an assertion of the superiority of universals over particulars. So, universals, I already talked about this universals versus particular in my theory of forms video. So, Plato says there's a world of universals, that realm of forms, and whatever we see around us is an imitation, and it's particular pen, a particular person, a particular table, particular bed, a particular tree, this, that, whatever we see around us, these are particulars. Universals is that world of ideas, that realm of forms. So he says that Plato gives emphasis on the world of ideas. He gives superiority. The emphasis is on that world of ideas, and this world of particulars, he puts it secondary. It's not important for him. But, okay, Plato says that particular instances of, say, beauty or justice exist because they participate in the universal form of beauty or justice. So what he's trying to say is that Plato says beauty and justice exist out of that bag. Okay, this form of beauty and justice, truth, these abstract ideas exist in that realm of forms. What we see around us now is a copy of that. So when we see these things around us, like suppose I see a flower, I will try to decipher what beauty is. I will try to focus on that realm of forms. I will not look at the flower and I'll be like, oh my God, such a pretty flower. No. I will actually look at the flower and I'm like, okay, this is beautiful. What is beauty? Let me just think about it. I'll sit and I'll reason. I'll use my head to actually decipher and understand what beauty itself is. Beauty as in, what is the idea of beauty? If you consider Plato's ladder of love, he says that you first fall in love with a person. As you're living life with this person, you fall in love with the body first. You're attracted to a person's exterior. You're attracted to that first. When you start living with this person, you'll realize that all bodies are beautiful. You'll move or transcend beyond the body, and you love the person for what the person or who the person is. You love the person's inner self. Okay. As you're loving this person's inner self, you'll try to appreciate beauty. When you'll try to appreciate beauty, you'll try to understand what beauty actually is. Then you sit and reason and try to decipher the true meaning of beauty. What is beauty itself? And that idea you will understand when you try to reason it out. And the actual idea exists in that realm of forms. To understand that concept, you have to sit, reason, use your reasoning. You cannot just look at the outside world and say it's beautiful. To understand beauty, you have to use your reason. So he says that the universal idea, the universals are superior to particulars that we see around us. He says whatever particular we see around us, if we say this is beautiful, that is pretty, whatever we see, these kind of statements which we make, it comes from that world. That world of beauty, the world of ideas, it comes from that. Everything we see around us is an imitation. So whenever we say something is beautiful, the true essence of beauty, we have to understand the realm of forms. We have to understand that realm by using our reason. So he says that particular instances of beauty or justice, okay, these abstract ideas exist because the forms exist. Because of the forms, because of their true nature, the essence of beauty and justice, they exist there. That's why these ideas exist because of the forms. Okay, so he says that our notions, instances, episodes, instances, moments of beauty, justice that we see around us exist because of the universal that exists. That idea of beauty, the essence, exists in that realm of forms. But for Aristotle, on the contrary, Aristotle argues that universal concepts of beauty and justice, whatever exists, the universal idea of beauty and justice, it exists, or they derive their essence from the instances of beauty and justice we see. It's the opposite. Plato says that instances exist because they come from that realm of ideas. Aristotle says the realm, our idea of beauty, exists because of these instances that we see around us. We look a pretty flower and we realize it's beautiful. That's when we understand these instances. We look at something pretty and say it's pretty. That's why we understand what pretty and beautiful actually is. So he says that beauty and justice don't exist because of the realm of forms. The concepts of beauty and justice, they derive their meaning from these individual instances that we see in this life, our real life, the real life of matter and form. Okay, I hope this is clear. This is pretty easy also if you understand it. So I'll read it again. Plato argues that particular instances of beauty and justice exist only because they participate in the universal form of beauty or justice in the realm of forms. On the contrary, Aristotle argues that universal concepts of beauty and justice derive from the instances of beauty and justice that we see in the world. Okay, like that. So we only arrive at a conception of beauty by observing particular instances of beauty. We try to understand what beauty is by observing instances of beauty, right? Instances like a mother feeding a child is beautiful. Okay, a father carrying a daughter on the shoulder is beautiful. Okay, a rose is beautiful. Sunsets are beautiful. We look at these instances and then we say that it's beautiful. The idea of beauty is derived from these instances that we see around us. And the universal quality of beauty has no existence beyond this conception that we build from particular instances. Universal quality of beauty does not exist apart from this material world. It does not exist elsewhere. Okay, the universal quality is of beauty, the essence of beauty is derived from these things we see around us, okay, and things we associate with. By saying that the particulars come first, that these things come first, whatever we see around us comes first and universals come after, Aristotle places emphasis on the importance of observing the details of this world. He is, what is experimental science today? In my Francis Bacon video also, I've already discussed that we observe, we experiment, we conclude. Okay, we don't just use reasoning first, we actually observe whatever we see around us. Similarly, he says you observe the details of this world, which stands as one of the important moments in the development of the scientific method of observation, experimentation, and then you come to conclusions. So he says that, you observe whatever we see around us. Okay, that's where everything gets its meaning from instances in this particular world. While Plato says you just sit and you reason, you sit and think about beauty, you sit and try to decipher the world that we cannot see. But Aristotle says that the world we see around us is real. So let's just refer to the picture. For Plato, world of forms gives birth to the world of matter or things. Okay. For Aristotle, world of form and matter together exist in this world. So you have form and matter that make up the things. Okay. So this is Aristotle versus Plato. Now we're going to move on to Aristotle's theory of causality. It's the final slide. So let's look at Aristotle's 4 causes. So according to Aristotle, okay, we have come to Aristotle's 4 causes. So he says anything in the world, it can be a tree, an apple, a person, a statue, anything, name it, anything in the world. You can understand a thing by understanding the causes for the thing. So why is an apple? Why is a human being? Or what is a human being? How is a human being? All of these things, if you understand the causes for the thing, you can understand the thing itself. So he actually talks about 4 causes. Okay, anything in the world has these 4 causes. Okay, and once you understand the causes for the thing, you'll understand the thing itself. So let's have a look at the 4 causes that he talks about: the material cause, the formal cause, the efficient cause, and the final cause. So we'll look at the 4 causes by Aristotle, via which he thinks that we can understand what a thing is. We can understand anything in the world by understanding the causes for the thing. So, if you consider, say, a bronze statue or a marble statue, you'll ask me, what is this statue made up of? Why is this statue heavy? Why can't I pick it up? Because it's made up of marble. Why is this book light? Because it's made up of paper. Okay, so what you have to actually understand, material cause is the matter. Remember I talked about matter and form. Matter is what makes up the thing. It's subject to change. Matter or material is what is this thing that we're talking about made up of. Okay, it can be marble, it can be cells in case of human beings, it can be say paper in case of books. Okay, what is it made up of? Wood in case of a table, maybe plastic in case of a chair or table, anything. Okay, so material cause. What is the material? What is it made up of? What is the matter? Okay. Second is the formal cause. So you have the word form in the name itself. So the formal cause is how is it arranged? What is its essence? That is the form of the thing. How can we recognize it? What is the form of a statue? What is the form of an apple tree? What is a form of an apple? What is the form of a teacher? Okay, these are qualities, these are essences that we associate. Now see, suppose I'm a teacher, okay, and at home I'm also somebody's daughter, I'm somebody's sister, I am somebody's counterpart, I'm somebody's friend. Okay, so there are certain qualities, okay, that you associate with these traits. So remember I said matter and form, these substances are things, many qualities combined together to make the thing that it is. Okay, so the formal cause is how is it arranged? Form, a table, how is it made? What is the form of a table? An apple, what is the form of an apple? What is its essence? What makes us, no matter in what part of the world we are, we look at an apple and we know it's an apple. Okay, green apple or not, whatever, we look at an apple, we know it's an apple. Okay, we look at a mango, we know it's a mango. Dogs can be of different breeds, but the essence of being a dog is in every one of them. It has a particular form. A dog has a particular form. So the formal cause, how is it arranged? What is the essence of the thing? Then we have the efficient cause, the primary source of change or rest. Okay, change or rest. What does this mean? Okay, so the efficient cause is the mover or the maker of the thing. So for example, if you have a dog, how did a dog come into being? Because a mother dog gave birth to it. Okay. How did a table come to being? Because the carpenter made it. Okay. From wood. Okay. How did this table take shape? Because the carpenter or the woodcutter cut the wood, gave the carpenter the wood, and the carpenter shaped the table. How is this building here? Because the builders and the architects put the building there. So the efficient cause is the mover, okay, that causes the change or rest, okay, the thing that it is. Why? Now, efficient cause, if you consider, say, okay, these are all external forces. If you consider, say, a butterfly, okay, what is the efficient cause of butterfly? Evolution, right? It is from the larva or the caterpillar that it actually evolves into a butterfly. So it transforms into a butterfly, evolves into a butterfly. The efficient cause is that. Now, say even for basic human qualities, you're happy, there must be an efficient cause for that happiness. You're angry, there's an efficient cause for that anger. So anything that you have to understand through these causes. So if you consider the act of walking, you're walking, I'm walking. Why? Because you want to stay healthy. Okay. I'm farming. Why? Because I want to sell the produce and provide for myself and my family. Okay, so everything has these kind of causes. You have the material cause. What is it made up of? Then you have formal cause. How is this thing arranged? What is its form? And then you have the efficient cause, that, how did it come into being? And then you have the final cause. What is its purpose? If you understand these four causes, you will understand the thing itself. You would have understand the substance itself. Now, according to Aristotle, he thinks that the formal cause is the most important one, and that the efficient cause and the final cause flows from it. Okay, so consider that I am talking about teaching. Okay, so you'll say that what is the efficient cause of a teacher? So you would say that the primary source of rest or change for a teacher Or maybe let's consider student, that'll be easier. Okay, suppose you're a student, the primary cause for your change or rest is a teacher. Okay, so if I say what is a student, then you'll say a student is someone who a teacher teaches. Okay, but that's the efficient cause. The teacher is the one who's actually changing or causing the change in your mental setup or in your knowledge system, because I'm teaching you. So efficient cause would be me, our relationship. Okay, in the student teacher relationship. So you'll say that does not really answer what a student is. A student is one who a teacher teaches. That does not really answer what a student is. Then you'll say the final cause. What is the purpose for you studying? Is to pass an exam. That also does not, like, a student is someone who has to pass an exam. Okay, so that also does not answer who a student is. Okay, so that brings us back to the essence of what a student is. So formal cause, okay, how is it arranged? Who are you? Who is a student? A student is someone who is in the learning process. A student is someone who maybe is learning. It's not that the teacher is teaching him, but he's learning, right? A student is someone who's getting an education or someone who's in the learning process, so that he can actually pass an exam, get a job, whatever it may be. But you can see that the efficient cause and the final cause does not really answer what a thing is. The formal cause, the form of a student, the idea of a student actually tells you what a student actually is. So of these four causes, the most important, according to Aristotle, is the formal cause, the essence of the thing, the form of the thing. Now that we're done with Aristotle's four causes, we're going to move on with his poetics. We're going to discuss poetics in detail because that's what we are going to focus on as far as literary criticism is concerned. And after that, we'll be done in totality with the Greek critics. We've completed Socrates and Plato in detail. After completed poetics, we would have covered Aristotle also in detail. And with that, we'll be done with the Greek critics. And after that, we'll start with the Roman critics very soon. So I really hope this video has been helpful for you. I've tried to explain everything as easily and lucidly as possible. And if this video has been helpful for you, then please don't forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my channel for similar content. Till we meet again, I really hope that you stay healthy and happy. See you in the next one.